Hi, this is Faith and Literacy, and I'm back for Chapter 2. I have been talking about how classroom teachers and homeschooling parents can prepare for the new school year. In Chapter 1, I focused on planning and organization, setting goals and objectives, and starting to think about that curriculum and planning the year long and breaking it up into manageable pieces for the unit and lesson plans. Here in part 2, I'm going to be focusing on preparing the learning environment. So stay tuned. Okay, first up is for classroom teachers. Classroom teachers, you want to make sure that you have a well-organized and welcoming classroom environment that can enhance learning and engagement. So here are some things that you can do. If you have access to your classroom space ahead of time, go there, take a look at it, take pictures from different angles, draw it out if you're good at that. And I really want you to start thinking about the physical space that you have. How are you going to set up the desks, the tables, to help promote collaboration and interaction? Not just interaction with you, but also peer-to-peer interaction. Then I want you to think about where are you going to put those important learning centers. Now remember, learning centers isn't just for pre-K, kindergarten, and first grade students. Upper elementary as well as middle school students can also benefit from learning centers. So I want you to think, can you designate an area in your room for reading, for example, maybe science experiments, art projects, or collaborative projects for the students? I also want you to look, how can I decorate the classroom that's going to be welcoming and inviting as well as informative? You want to make sure that you're including educational posters, but also the students' work. So how can you use visuals to help create an inviting and stimulating experience for your students? You want to make sure that when a parent, another teacher, even your principal walks in the room, they're going to know exactly what your kids are doing at that particular moment because they can see the evidence on the walls. And lastly, I want you to think about how you're going to organize supplies and materials. You want to ensure that everything is easily accessible for both you and your students. So think about in relation to where your students are going to be, right? Their desks or tables, and where the supplies are going to be. If they have to get up out of their seats to grab those supplies, how is that going to be disruptive to the classroom? You want to make sure that the supplies is easily accessible to them, but you also want to make sure that it's not creating a disruption every time they need a pencil, a piece of paper to sharpen their pencil, get an eraser, things like that. So think about that when you are organizing your room. Okay, now it's homeschooling parents. Parents, you want to make sure that you are creating a productive learning space by making some thoughtful choices about the home environment. So first, you want to make sure that you are designating a specific space for learning. You want to choose a quiet, well-lit space where your child can focus on their studies. You also want to make sure that you have an area that you set up for storage of supplies and materials. You want to use shelves, bins, or drawers that's going to keep everything well organized. And of course, easily accessible to your child. Next, you want to make sure that you're creating a daily schedule. Establishing a routine is important in the classroom, but also important in your homeschooling environment. You want to establish a routine that includes a time for different subjects, breaks, extracurricular activities, and of course, some outside time. And lastly, you want to make sure that you are also personalizing the space. You can decorate the area with academic materials, but also make sure that you are including your child's work. Include things like their artwork to make the area feel a little bit more special. So I hope this was helpful to you. Stay tuned for Chapter 3 when I get into getting essential supplies. Until then, I'll catch you later.